Hey, I'm Ed Bolian, and welcome back to my personal channel. Now, on the last video, we talked about why my 2009 Ferrari 430 Scuderia was going away. And I talked a little bit about what I was looking for, but actually I sold it about 3 weeks ago. And in that time, I bought 3 cars, including this one, my 2017 Audi R8 V10 Plus, the ultimate version of the facelifted R8. And obviously, as you can see by the stickers, I just got back from the Gold Rush Rally. It's my 3rd year doing Gold Rush, representing Modified. And so I'd like you to check out Modified at the link in the description below. You can download their newly redeveloped app, and it is the perfect place to buy or sell the next part for your project. It's an enthusiast marketplace for new, used, OEM aftermarket, anything you want to buy or sell related to the automotive hobby. Modified is the perfect place to start. You can find some of my stuff listed there, and you can sell your stuff. You can even offer a kickback to incentivize your followers to help bring you a buyer and make it sell much more quickly. So check out Modified today to thank them for supporting my channel and for supporting VinWiki for the last 3 years. But as I said in the video about selling the Scud, I wanted something that was still a very cool high-performance car, but honestly something that was a little bit more comfortable, because I just finished a 4,000-mile test drive in this car. I'm about to pass 60,000 miles in it, and it just seemed like a really interesting option of what might be the next fun car to enjoy for a little while. And so let's take it for a drive, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I've experienced so far and where I think we're going to go from here.
Any other car radio check?
I have finally found a use for a car radio. I can run my police scanner through the Bang & Olufsen sound system and hear the cops on the speakers. But for now, I'll mute them so that we can talk. But again, this is a 2017 R8 V10 Plus, and to be honest, I didn't even know how badly I wanted the Plus. It's got 610 horsepower, exactly like the first Huracans, rather than 530 horsepower, since in this generation of the R8, they did away with the V8 option. And so I didn't really know how much better a Plus was, but you get the carbon wing, you get the ceramic brakes, you get a lot more carbon options, and the power is awfully nice. I'll be honest, I went to the launch for the Lamborghini Huracan back in 2014 at Imola, and at the time I was working at Lamborghini Atlanta, and I believe I had sold more Huracans before the first one being delivered than anyone else in the world. And so they were very keen to get my thoughts on the car. And I got out of the car and I said, that is the most boring, beautiful car I've ever driven. And it's because it has electronic steering and electronic suspension and electronic aids for absolutely everything and an electronic button to adjust absolutely everything. You are so insulated from the driving experience in most modern supercars that the thrill that I personally love about driving them is kind of lost. And so while I was very impressed with what it was with respect to the market it was ready to serve, and obviously they've sold more than 20,000 of the cars now, to be quite honest, I was just kind of like, I don't really want one. Now, 7 years later, I understand that there is a place for it, but I love the car a lot more when I think about it as an Audi than when I think about it as a Lamborghini. I get 3 more inches of cabin space, I get the same electronic suspension, I get the same stupid electronic steering, I get the same everything, the same ceramic brakes, the same amount of power. I just have a totally different way to interact with the car because the Germans made all the buttons. And certainly the Germans had a lot to do with the Huracan as well, but this is absolutely an Audi. It is just an Audi, I would even go so far as to say, that happens to look really pretty and go pretty fast. But is the Audi part enough to make it not really a supercar? And beyond that, what I really want to talk about today is this currently the ultimate first supercar that you could buy as a new supercar buyer? So let's talk about it. Now, the first thing that I hate is that this stupid car creeps. This is a double clutch sequential manual transmission, and when I take my foot off the brake, it goes forward. Now, if that were to happen in most of my single clutch sequential manual transmissions, I would know that I'm wearing the clutch out, and so I hate the way that it feels. Now, I know it's not really damaging and that the car knows what it's doing, but I don't want it to be an automatic transmission, and this is totally one. I'm going 19 miles an hour in 6th gear that it has automatically selected, and I'm only managing 12 miles per gallon, so I'm not even like winning in that regard. So I don't like the interface. I do like the start button. I like that the key stays in your pocket, all those things that I haven't ever had. I've got a great backup camera, functional Bluetooth, a whole lot of things. This is the newest car I've ever owned, 2017. Of course, it doesn't have a warranty. It's old. It's been replaced by 2 more generations of the car. But for me, brand new. It has Bluetooth audio. I don't know what that is or how you do it, but I use it for the police scanner. So I'm impressed with it in that regard. It has a lot of different permutations of the way the screen can look and stuff like that. But in order to make it fun, you have to go to dynamic. Now, when you go to dynamic and then you put it over here in manual mode, the suspension is so awful on the highway that you can't do that. So there's a way to build an individual mode, but in 10 days and 4,000 miles, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So one day, there's hope. But now it makes a better noise. I have to press this button also to make it have a special sport sound. This is sport sound that it has. It doesn't popple and crack and everything like a Huracan would, but it sounds decent. I mean, V10 cars never sound all that great anyway, but it does a better job. It revs to 8,500 RPM. It is geared stupid low. I mean, you'll be cruising in the highway at 90 miles an hour in 7th gear at 4,000 RPM or something stupid. So I don't know why that is, but that is the way they've built this car and the way they've geared it. I don't think that's exactly the same gearing as a Huracan, so perhaps that's where some of the differences begin. But as I said, I bought this car initially for Gold Rush because the air conditioning was not working in the Mercy SV. I'd intended to use that as the rally car for the summer, put 5, 6, 7, 8,000 miles on it, but there's an external temperature sensor that the air conditioning has to think about, and it was not working. So I was sometimes having air conditioning and sometimes not. And every city that we went through, of the 8 stops for Gold Rush this year, we faced record temperatures. It's 121 in Vegas, 116 in Scottsdale. It was brutal. And so I was very, very pleased to be in this, a much more comfortable car. Now, when I found this car on Auto Tempest, I saw the seats and I realized that it didn't have the quilted seats that most Plus cars seem to have. And so I thought, well, maybe those will just be a little bit softer, a little more comfy. That was not the case. This has some ultra rare Recaro bucket seats that, even though they are in 2 pieces and they can lean forward to store stuff in this amazing space behind the seats, they don't lean back. The whole thing moves up a little bit in a useless way, but you can't recline it. And so I'm having to slouch a little bit because proper sitting up straight, I'm jammed in the roof again. But I will say I have a whole lot more room than a Huracan, and I'm not really that upset by it. It didn't hurt my back too badly in all the miles that we drove, and the car is very, very nicely planted. I think it's a little bit softer sprung, even in dynamic mode, than a Huracan would be, but at the same time, it's super approachable, and the way that you engage with the car, my wife did half a Gold Rush with us. She's like, oh, I can just put it in automatic and put it in drive and not even think about it as a sports car? And the answer to that is absolutely. Now, this car was $135,000. It had about a 210 MSRP, and it's actually not orange, it's black. I don't like black cars, but every car I seem to buy lately is black. All 3 cars I bought last week were black. But I have wrapped it orange because the other use of this car is for an upcoming Car Trek premise. And so I am going to be going up against Freddie and Tyler in this. And I'm not going to tell you how this car qualifies or what the challenge is going to be. You'll get to watch in December for that. We're going to shoot that series in August. But it is also a Car Trek car in addition to a Gold Rush car, and in addition to like a real candidate to be around for a good little while. I think this is a car that I could own for a little while, although I will immediately and happily concede it's pretty sterile as a supercar. It's fast, but it's very clinical, and it is not super engaging. And in general, when somebody came to me and said, Ed, I'm in the market for my first supercar, I would say LP generation Gallardo. An LP 550, LP 560, 2010, 11, 12, anything like that is a brilliant car to consider. Now, this car is more reliable, more technologically advanced, a little bit faster, and it's still gorgeous. So has this now replaced that as my vote for the best car you could buy to start out with in a supercar under 150 grand? Makes a good noise, goes pretty fast. Honestly, I think it probably is. It's half the value today of what a similar aged Huracan would be, and it's more comfortable. It has a little bit more room, albeit nearly none. Packing for 10 days in the front of this thing and in the space right here was very difficult. We're being run off the road just a little bit, but he saw me. It's an orange sports car, easy to miss. But I will say that it is not nearly as exciting as my 15-year-old exotic cars. That's being said, there's a give and take, and I like what I'm getting in giving that away just a little bit. So I bought this car 2 weeks before departure for Gold Rush, knowing that in that window I had to ship the car to Vegas where the event was going to begin. So in that time, I took the car to Cartoons where Redenzo sent us this insane radar detector and laser jamming system. I got an Arnie Toman, who was my co-driver from Cannonball Garage. He sent the Uniden Bearcat 885 scanner that you literally just turn on and hear cops. We ran that into the speakers. We put in mounts for all the phones and everything. We wrapped it from black to orange at Wrap Pros in Kennesaw. Then I had my guys at AP3 do a quick clear bra to protect the wrap because the wrap's not thick enough to protect from rock chips and things like that. And so I literally didn't drive the car after I brought it home from Orlando. I dropped it off at the wrap shop that day, and it was just bang, 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 appointment, appointment, appointment. But at this point, the car's properly set up. Now you'll notice I am not nearly as giddy as I am driving an Italian supercar, because this is not an Italian supercar. This is a German approach to being a supercar. And it's okay. It's okay as a supercar, but it's really, really good as an automobile. And I've never had a good automobile, and I'm kind of enjoying that. I am not gonna just feel like I'm getting every inch of enjoyment out of every inch of pavement that I get to cover, but at the same time, I do understand the appeal of just having a good time and not worrying about a thing. We didn't stretch it out all the way to its 205 mile an hour top speed, but I think we got it in the 170s, maybe 180 at one point. But overall, I was really impressed with the road manners and the usability of the car. We had a lot of fun. The car went everywhere it was supposed to, did all the things it was supposed to, and I gotta say, I like it. Do I love it? No, not yet, but I do really like the fact that when I take some shorter trips, I'm not putting the stress on an older high compression V12 in one of the Mercies. I like the idea that my wife can drive it. I like the idea that there's a dealer everywhere to service the thing. I think it's a very good looking car. So overall, I'm quite impressed. I think it would be a wonderful first supercar for anybody, and I think I'm going to enjoy a whole lot more miles in it, starting now. There's a ton to like about the R8, and I'm very pleased to have it in the garage. No, it's not as exciting as the Scud or as a Mercy or anything like that, but it has a lot of features that I'm not used to having, and I think I might actually get some use out of. And so thank you so much. I'm going to take it on some more adventures. You'll see it on Car Trek, and it will certainly rack up a lot more miles. But thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon with some more cars. But be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever it is you're supposed to do, and I'll keep making more videos. Have a great night.